Okay, so here I am again, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about religion. And my my Catholic upbringing, and just looking back through the sort of rear view mirror of my life, and tying that in with, you'll hear me use the word conditioning a lot. Societal conditioning is quite a big thing with me, because when you sort of boil things down to what they are, then you'll find that there's huge patterns of conditioning which people follow. Religion being one of them, and religion was kind of imposed upon me, forced on me, because of my Catholic parents. My mother, who was Irish and born into the Catholic faith with all of her family, and my father, who was Church of England, who converted to Catholicism over a period of time by virtue of being married to my mother. So as a child, I went to Catholic schools and ended up being taught by Catholic priests. An interesting period of my life. And when I look back on it now, it's just, the absurdity of it all is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, we're coming up to Easter now, 2019, when lots of people who believe in all that kind of stuff and Christ on the cross and everything will take part in the religious ceremonies around Easter, which was something, again, I was expected to do as a child. The real important part of Easter to me as a Catholic was getting Easter eggs, of course, unwrapping the foil and just gorging on the chocolate. So that was the kind of impact that Easter had on me as a Catholic child, really. And all the other stuff that goes with it. You go to church and they put this like ash on you, Ash Wednesday, where the priest has sort of been out the back for a fag and come back with the ashtray and tipped out the dog ends, and put that on you. And that kind of holy water stuff, and it's just like all indoctrination, all of it. And I remember as a boy, significant ceremonies such as like the bishop arriving at the church, and as a child, it's like, well, you've got to go and meet the bishop. He's this like really cool, important guy in the church, and you've got to go there, and and we had to queue up. And we had to sort of kneel down before this guy and kiss his ring, and which is kind of a bit disconcerting when you're 10 years old. You've got to kiss a man's ring. I mean, if this was nowadays, and an adult said to me, "Look, there's a guy arriving over there, and you've got to go and kiss his ring," you'd be going, "No, I think I'll give that one a miss." Like, it's fine if you're in like Canal Street in Manchester, or Old Market here in Bristol. Actually, I'm in Old Market. Anyway, yeah, but that's beside the point. But you kind of, why would you do these things? Like, there's supposed to be this holy man, and he wears this nice fancy ring that you kneel down before and you kiss it, and you feel so much better about yourself immediately for doing so. There is such a change in your character, your persona, your personality, that having kissed this piece of jewellery, worth about 40 quid, probably 20, maybe a tenner on eBay nowadays, that you're just going to sort of be elated as you walk on air, leaving the church. And there's all the other stuff, like going to confession and just absolute pap, really, when you think of it. And the stories, if there was any truth in it, like people would be sort of struck down and stories. Hello? God? Hello? It's just satire. It's, hello? Hello? So we have all these like wonderful stories in religion that can never, ever, ever in a million years with the best scientific brains in the country ever prove any of it happened, really. Like Moses, this guy who suddenly found his way up this mountain and came back down with these tablets of commandments. And I was just kind of just refreshing myself on it. The mount was covered by the cloud for 6 days, and on the seventh day Moses went into the midst of the cloud and was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. So we're led to believe that a guy randomly kind of walked up a mountain. Randomly just walked up. Nothing else better to do, Nothing on the biblical telly to watch. The daily biblical sport had no decent sort of looking women in it. But so nothing to do but just saunter, wander up this great mountain and stay there for apparently absolutely no reason whatsoever, unbeknown to him, like you do. Like you walk up Glastonbury Tor and you have no other reason for going up there. It's because it's there that you do it. And there's a nice little towery bit on top. And if you stand up there, you can look all the way around. Wonderful. Now, if somebody had come down from Glastonbury Tor and went, "Hey people, I got a voice up there. I heard a voice. And there's all these things that we have to do as human beings. We have to follow these commandments." You'd be going, whoop, whoop, mental health alert, mental health alert, mental health alert. You would. Well, actually, it's Glastonbury. You probably wouldn't, because it's, But ordinarily, anywhere else, you'd be going, no thanks. But apparently in those days, nobody said anything like, okay, well, sorry, but I've got a few bits of papyrus to collect and some ass's milk, but I'll catch you another time. Nice one, Moses. You take care. Nobody says that. So this guy goes up this mountain, stays up there. God knows what he had to eat or drink, because he's on the top of a mountain. Maybe just eating grass, or who knows. So he went up there a human being, came down much later as a skeleton, carrying these huge commandments, and said to people, "I heard a voice while I was up there." And people were so stupid, they went, "Really? Wow. What kind of voice?" "Well, I don't know, this voice just gave me these commandments, and he was called God, and he wrote them on tablets for me." And you think, he wrote them on tablets. So an invisible voice, i.e., some like voice that isn't real, suddenly, excuse me, pulls his hand out of the sky and starts writing on a tablet, and writes all these 10 things that we're supposed to do or not supposed to do as human beings. Most of which, I have to say, revolve around the invisible man in the sky. Now, it has to be a man, because I don't think a woman would have fucked it up like this, to be fair. And it can't be a meteor. You can't really come down from a mountain and say, well, I heard this voice, and it was a meteor that spoke to me. I mean, you'd be locked up, wouldn't you? You'd be off to the nearest mental health ward. Right? But we are led to believe, as logical, supposedly intelligent human beings, supposedly, that we are meant to actually physically, honestly, sincerely believe that there is an invisible man in the sky who tells us that we have to live according to the invisible man's rules. Really. So you can kind of see why some years later I thought, I'm going to kind of duck out of this religious thing. And I went through like the different faiths and Catholicism, and I looked into Buddhism and Baha'ism. We were lovely people, and Buddhists, lovely people. They're kind of not off their heads, but they're just generally lovely people. And I've looked into all this stuff, and it's really, when you think about war and stuff like that, it's always about one side disagreeing with the other side's invisible God. Now, explain this to a psychiatrist. Although I have to say there are probably many religious psychiatrists out there who really need to be seen by a non-religious psychiatrist to get to the bottom of whatever their issues are around religion, because it's all kind of doolally. So as we approach Easter now, which is only, 10 days ahead or something like that, and we are stuffing ourselves with chocolate to celebrate to celebrate Jesus. Is it Jesus we celebrate? See, I'm so out of touch with it now. I don't even care anymore. I'm not even interested anymore. But it's to do with Jesus, and it's to do with, hanging there on the cross, the man who got it nailed, right? And this very strange story. I'm going to go onto my other laptop just a little minute now, because a story came up on the radio. You're going to love this, right? This is real lunacy. And it involves Easter eggs. Right. Now, Waitrose, well-known supermarket, well-respected supermarket, are being accused of racism over ugly, dark, brown Easter duckling. This is where we've got to in society now. That there are, you'll find it, you'll Google it yourself. There are images of these three little ducklings, one of which is a kind of a light chocolate brown, the one in the middle being white chocolate, and the one on the end being dark chocolate, which is the way you expect chocolate to be, although some might be tinged with a little bit of ginger nowadays, or whatever else that they kind of put in chocolate just to make it more interesting and to make it more palatable for people. But people now have actually gone to the extreme. Probably non-religious people, by the way. Who knows? Complaining about Waitrose having 3 ducks, one of which is ugly dark. And people are taking this seriously as racism. Have they really got nothing else better to do with their days or with their lives than worry about 3 bloody chocolate ducks? So now, as a result of it, and this is another thing which really annoys me nowadays, excuse me, but it takes 2 complaints or 3, even like, let's say Waitrose has a consumer market of, say, like 2 million customers a year, 3 million customers a year, one, I don't know, but I'm guessing. 2 people, 3 people, 5 people complain out of all those hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people who shop at Waitrose, and Waitrose go, oh, we're so sorry. Oh, we're so sorry. We'll take them down immediately. Oh, you poor people. Oh my God, what have we done to you? Oh, poor babies. Poor babies. Instead of just tell them to go into a corner and suck their bleeding dummies. Don't give in to these bloody people who've clearly got nothing else better to do with their day or their time than worry about you. If that's all they have to worry about in the world, they are bloody lucky, because there are bigger things going on. If you want to bitch about something, bitch about a knife crime, bitch about something real. Don't go on about bloody stupid chocolate ducks over Easter, which will be off the shelves in about 2 weeks. Behave yourselves, you stupid, moronic, idiotic, senseless, bloody people. Out, said, done. But it kind of makes me wonder what kind of a world this is turning into, really. Where you've got people, and I didn't even know how to describe it. It's just beyond my logical comprehension that people still have to believe in all this stuff around religion, all this like airy, bloody, fairy, ridiculous beliefs that people have. And when it comes down to it, and it comes down to Easter, the only thing people have to worry about are 3 chocolate bloody ducks. Enough said. Bye-bye.